I made a joke a while ago about having a structure to my videos and breaking away from that. Well, today we're going even further in adding special episodes to my Why I Love series. I mean, I've done like a year worth of these videos. Other people have special episodes. I can do it too. Don't try to take this away from me. Don't tell me what to do. Anyway, this time I'm going to talk about a game I really enjoy that just has so many bits of not so great that I feel it needs to be talked about. So, allow me to express my feelings on Seraph. I think there's a lot of good in the core of this game. When I picked it up, I thought it was a Metroidvania. The store page even says so, and it really isn't. It's a stylish action platformer, basically. That's where most of the great stuff is, the stylish action part, the combat. Regardless of this not being what I was expecting, I was instantly way in. You get to do sweet flips, magic dodges, shoot 2 enemies at once. It's all pretty sweet looking gun fu, and it looks stylish, and the game rewards you for not getting hit. This is very fun. It looks great to style on your foes as you progress through the levels. You get some other helpful things to help you fight as you progress. You level up and acquire new abilities that let you dish out some more damage, avoid getting hit, recover health, or level up faster. These are very helpful as the difficulty increases and enemies get tougher. There are some spells you can use in a fight too. They help you kill faster or focus down large targets. There's a neat difficulty system that increases as you fight without getting hit. There's more to it than that, but that's kind of the core. Running through a level, killing demons is really fun. There's great gameplay loop here too. I really enjoy the music as well. It's kind of light, industrial, electronic style tunes. They would fit into a Matrix, John Wick, or a similarly inspired action film. I found the tracks fit well for the action and the setting, and not just to out myself all over the internet, but I think that the main character is a cutie. So let that say what it will about me, but I like her. Now, that's most of the good there, and I have a lot of fun with this game. I mean, I've played it for like 96 hours. Wow, 96 hours, that's quite a lot. See, I really do like this game. Anyway, there are just quite a few not so great things to talk about with this game. You heard me mention things like story, demons, settings, and even character, and you might be asking yourself, what are all those? I think that this game actually has a pretty decent and well-written backstory and world. The story you see while playing is about you escaping a special prison built just for you, so you can get home. There's nothing wrong with this, but it isn't all that exciting either. You do find files throughout that explain the backstory of you being a Seraph. Basically, an angel in a human body who was captured by this religious group. Eventually, you are trying to escape because the facility is overrun with demons, and you have to fight your way out and towards your home. There are 75 files that cover all of this with much more detail. The world and backstory is an interesting one. It's fairly unique even. I don't know. It kind of sucks to me that all of this is hidden in files you need to collect. I don't know why I have an issue with it specifically in this game when I've praised this kind of idea in games like Ruiner or Brigador. I think just sometimes it would be nice to have the story presented to you totally as you play. Also, I think the author just learned the word whilst, as it comes up so many times in these files. As you kill demons, you collect experience, materials, and shards that they drop. The experience is at its most valuable immediately after the demon dies, and then it quickly loses that value. This is an alright system, it just fades so fast, which keeps you on the move, but I don't find that it adds all that much to the game. The materials are for making better spells, weapons, and trinkets. I don't think this game really needs all that farming and crafting, but it really doesn't harm the game. The trinkets are temporary buff items that break after so many hits. I just don't have a very strong opinion about those existing. There are 6 spells and 6 weapons. Both of these can be upgraded, but I personally don't find every spell to be that worth it. I exclusively use Embrace and Sigil. I don't feel the need to use the other spells. They feel kind of useless to me. The same thing goes for the guns. You do have pistols with unlimited ammo, and then there are others that you pick up in levels. I do find that the automatic weapons are the only ones worthwhile. The combat can get pretty involved, and pulling the trigger for every shot of a semi-automatic weapon just seems like an extra step I don't want to deal with. The shard upgrades are another way of increasing your power, just unrelated to level ups. You can combine 3 shards of the same level into the next level to increase the bonus of these upgrades. Eventually, you can also turn in some of the best shards for a rebirth, where you start all over, kind of like a clicker game, which feels a little out of place here, but it does make you more powerful. There are also daily and weekly challenges to earn even more shards and materials. The dailies are alright, but there are only 7 of them and they cycle every week. And the weekly is just a survival campaign, where you play through the campaign with 1 life. Some of the dailies are more fun than others, but it just overall lacks variety. It'd be nice to see some more different challenges. There's also wall climbing and jumping as part of the platforming. This is pretty cool, but you can really stick to those walls, which in combat can throw off the flow. It's required to get through levels, but when you're in the thick of it, I feel like I wish I could turn it off. Remember how I said the main character is pretty cute? Well, there's some DLC costumes for the game, and none of them capitalize on how nice the character looks. Okay, so this may just be my personal taste, but none of the costumes are all that great to me, which isn't really ideal when you're asking people for more money for those costumes. Maybe this portion of this video seemed a little disorganized, but I just wanted to share a bunch of the game features that are fine. They don't really do anything amazing for the game itself, but they don't particularly hurt it either. Some of them are just things that could have been tweaked slightly to be made more fun, and some just feel like strange choices to include in this game. Alright, before we get to the bad bits about this game, let me share today's sponsor. You guys know Audible, right? Well, I'm here to tell you about libraries. That's right, fuck you, Audible. Just go check out a book for free. And there are ways to use apps to rent audiobooks from the libraries for exactly $0 a month. That's a significantly better idea. Support your libraries, you beautiful book readers. Now, the bad. I honestly don't like doing this so much. I think one of the reasons I try to be as positive as possible with my videos is that it just feels unfair to shit all over games sometimes. Also, people who shit on video games on YouTube are a dime a dozen. Anyway, I truly do enjoy this game a lot. While writing this script, I probably put about 5 or so more hours into it, but there are just some issues that I feel that need to be talked about. The first and most glaring issue is the procedural level generation. The levels are randomized for each run, so you'll see new stuff every time. The problem with this is it just makes the game worse. The generation can make levels huge and sprawling. They just eat up time to get through. There are some things that are put into levels too that are hurt by being placed randomly. There are locked rooms that hold files for the backstory, a continue, and a power-up. These can be placed at a crossroads, and if you turn left instead of right, you'll finish a huge portion of the level before discovering the room, making the power-ups just go to waste. Or they might be at the end of the level, past the objective, and the exit door, so by the time you have found them and opened it, there's nothing left in the level to use that power-up on. There are also lockdown rooms, which would be great to go into with some of those power-ups, but it's just lucky if you run into that situation. In those lockdown rooms, you're trapped for a minute while enemies continually spawn. These rooms are actually where the game excels, because it's just straight combat. Now, the problem with these rooms is sometimes they're so big, you aren't always near where the enemies spawn, so there's not much of a challenge, or they're too small and there isn't much room to move around to dodge anything. Plus, and this is just with the whole game, you really stick to those walls. There are sometimes little extra edges to ledges, edges to ledges, edges to ledges, edges to ledges. Sorry. But you can just not notice these and get stuck on them. It feels like walls and wall jumping is more of an inconvenience than a good feature most of the time, especially during combat. And now this one is a pretty minor complaint about the levels compared to everything I just said, but you're in a facility that was supposed to be manned by many people and had frequent visitors. No regular person could navigate this place. You do need to dodge up and around to get through most levels, and the cooldown on that dodge can really force you to stare at where you need to go next, and just wait a little bit before making that jump. those are the complaints about the level design. I think the rest of the complaints really have to do with the enemies and increasing difficulty, but some of them are also tied into that dodge as well. But before that, what's the deal with the difficulty? It increases throughout the game as you collect experience, which is cool. The game is keeping pace with you. But if you don't get hit, the difficulty increases faster, which is good for a challenge. But those higher difficulties can feel like you're required to have gotten some major shard upgrades. It feels less about skill and more about the grind. It would also be nice if that difficulty system were explained anywhere in the game, rather than having me go outside and look up a Steam guide on it. And I still feel like I might not understand it completely. I feel like the game is best between difficulty 4 and 6. At that point, the enemies are no pushover, but they haven't gotten quite to bullshit levels. What exactly do I mean by bullshit levels? Well, there are some enemies that are immune to holy damage, which is what all of your spells deal, and there's a handful of level up upgrades that do that as well. These enemies make it feel like the game is punishing you for choosing any of those upgrades. And that sucks because one of the best upgrades, in my opinion, is one that adds holy damage over time to all of your attacks. These enemies aren't the worst because I think that they have lower HP overall, but I'm not 100% on that. Regardless, they still don't feel very fun to fight. Some enemies will spawn more enemies for you to fight, which isn't so bad at certain difficulties, but as the difficulty goes up, they can really spam those enemies and flood you with extra foes. The newly spawned enemies don't drop any experience or materials. I know that this is to prevent people from farming those enemies, but I feel they should give you something, even if it's a very small reward. It would just make the fight feel like it was worth more for having fought more. Some enemies have an ability that makes them reflect your bullets for a second or so, which is just more of an annoyance than anything. When they activate that ability, I just have to stop fighting, which can make a fight longer. It isn't really that difficult of a thing either, it's just not fun. These bonuses that enemies have kind of makes it feel like the game wants to make sure it's fair to them. Like it's saying, come on guys, let those demons have a chance too! There are some enemies that can do 2 attacks at once, which is a pain. This more relates to the limited dodges. There's one enemy that will spawn a circle that damages you and slows you, and they could be casting this while also casting their aimed shot. You have to time your dodge to avoid the aim shot and the cold zone, and it often feels like you don't either have enough dodges, or they just don't recharge fast enough. The enemies also get faster on higher difficulties, so you need to move faster too. That doesn't really happen. You've got the 2 dodges on the cooldown and a double jump. That's about it. There is a shard upgrade that decreases the cooldown of the dodge, and there's one that makes you move faster, but neither of these feel like they do it significantly enough to matter. There are also homing attacks that are just relentless. They last forever. In really tough situations, you can be forced to dodge every single attack you've seen in the game at once. It feels like the dodge is really stingy on the iframes too, like you're just barely invincible at all. This is a game where I want to feel powerful in the face of enemies. There can still be a challenge in the face of that, but at some point it feels like you're just barely scraping by. The game obviously wants to be a stylish action platformer. It wants to kind of feel like Devil May Cry, but with more jumping. And I think it only really succeeds at that in a small window of the game, personally, like I said, between about 4 and 6 difficulty-ish. Now, I did just bitch about this game for a while, but I really, really do like it. Hell, I would even recommend it to others. If you want some stylish action platforming, it can be totally worth it. I just think that most people should maybe stop after beating the game once. You'll have a blast in the beginning, crushing demons and reading that story. As you progress, you'll find a fun challenge for a little bit, but then you'll get to that 7.5 difficulty or so, and just wonder how the hell you're supposed to progress. There is a daily challenge where you're just tasked with fighting and surviving as difficulty increases over time, and I think that's where the game shines the most. With some more work, this could have been an amazing game. Well-crafted levels that aren't so tedious to traverse, fewer things to get caught on for a better combat flow, a better dodge, unlimited dodges. I mean, you can't do any damage when you dodge, so it wouldn't be that overpowered anyway, but, you know, faster movement overall, tweaked enemy mechanics, removing some of their abilities altogether, removal of the continues, as they just don't really add anything interesting or fun to the game. I guess it's probably because I have so much fun with this game that I have so many complaints. I just want it to be better. I do think it is worth a look and a play, just maybe don't try to 100% the game like I'm trying to do, because I'm a crazy person. Plus, you can grab it this summer sale for, wow, $3.24. That's a good deal. And with that, even if you play it only for a bit, you're gonna get your money's worth. Okay guys, thanks for watching. I know I've taken forever to make a new video, but I hope you like this one. It's a little bit different. I know, I'll get back into making videos soon, so don't worry. And I hope you enjoyed my dumb little joke about Audible. I doubt that I'll ever have a sponsor in these videos, so no harm, right? Anyway, I hope you're enjoying the Steam Summer Sale and picking up some great games. I know there's my playlist of the Why I Love series that has many good recommendations. You could watch another video, you know. As for what's next, I don't know. So you'll be just as surprised as I am with that video. Join me for it then.